So now that I'm getting better at knifing at the same sensitivity I quickscope on, I wanted to start making my videos longer. So if sometimes it takes a day between the videos, that's why. I'm not just getting lazy, it's because I want to make them longer and talk more. But this first clip was funny just because after I got those two guys, I just messed around and just stared at this guy for a minute since I saw he was on his cruise missile, and I didn't think he was willing just to suicide himself to get us both. I think the next thing I gotta get good at is being able just to like immediately understand the difference between the sword and the knife whenever I'm switching between them, because you'll see in some of these clips I'm still kind of used to like the swords, so I'll try to knife way too soon and I'll just whiff a couple times.
That's quite big. Impressive.
I had to make that joke because that's kind of what goes through my head every time I miss a throwing knife by that much. I'm like, wow, I'm just absolute trash. But I ended up making up for it on this clip, at least with this last throw, I thought, because it was pretty good. But yeah, overall, now that I'm more accurate on this higher sensitivity, I've been having a lot of fun. The main problem was with quickscoping, since it kind of slows down your aiming speed, like how fast you can look around whenever you start to scope in. I was used to that and compensating for that, and I found that a lot of the time when I was trying to snap onto people with the throwing knife, I'd be overcompensating because I was used to that like slight slowdown that gets caused when scoping in, so I kept missing my throws. But now I've kind of learned how to just ignore that and be able to just immediately adjust when using the throwing knife. But this part was funny because I was so close on that throw, I was just like, you know what, forget that guy, I'm going for other people now. And it's funny because I've also been having a lot of fun doing like the OG knifing strats, you know, like running around a corner and acting like I'm just not going to come back for them and then immediately rushing them again like I did right there. And of course, it wouldn't be a knifing video on Shoot House if I didn't have a couple clips where I'm killing people in Office. I swear, that's like the only thing I don't like about Shoot House is that fucking Office. And the only reason why I don't like it is because it just gives you such an overpowered like vantage point. It's usually overlooking an objective. You can see like one of the rushing lanes that people go through whenever they spawn, and it's just like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna sit here and get probably about 10 kills, and then I'll throw up my my VTOL or white phosphorus. But in the end, it is worth it because every time somebody does do something like that, it's always super satisfying to execute them. But here's one of those good examples of like me being used to the swords and I just knife way too far away, and I just like take a minute to look at the guy. I'm like, wow, I really just did that. And unfortunately later on in the same clip I kind of do it again, which I thought was funny, and I delay again. I just like look at the guy for like a second again, but it was a bit faster. And I will say, I do kind of wish the lunge was a bit different. Like in this game, sometimes you are given a very generous amount of lunge, but it's not like a lunge anymore. It's just, alright, no, you don't lunge forward, you stay where you are, but your knife just magically extends sometimes, and I think that's kind of silly. I wish they would have like the lunging animation, but I do understand they don't want to have Modern Warfare 2 level like lunges with commando and stuff. And it feels good again that I'm starting to get those longer knifing feeds. The only thing is, I do miss back in Black Ops 2, that's the game I usually compare all the CODs I play now to, because that was my favorite. I definitely missed how fast you could throw those tomahawks. It just made like the knifing feeds seem so much faster and more aggressive. And I'm really hoping that in Cold War they at least have fast hands or something like AMP, but a little bit better to the extent where you can like quickly take out two people with throwing knives. In this game, it's pretty hard to do that because the delay between throwing them is a bit long in my opinion. But that's a relatively small complaint. There are plenty of other things you could complain about with this game. Overall, I think it's a really good game. I've said that I don't know how many times. It's weird, you know? Because there are a lot of good about this game. Like for instance, before this game, let's look at Black Ops 4. I was so mad about the ballistic knives being in like the packs, being a random chance. And then they come to this game where there's none of that, and it's like, alright, hell yeah. But at the same time, it's so defensive and it's a bit harder to knife, so I don't want to complain about that because I don't want to be that guy. Because it's not horrible, you know, you can still do cool stuff. It's just, it's different. But I'm happy that a lot of the changes made in this game were positive, and I hope they continue making positive changes in the next. Although I will say, if they ever try to make Dead Silence anything other than a fucking perk again, they, for the love of God, should at least make it to where it's actually dead fucking silent. And it should make it to where you can blast through the doors by running your fucking body into it, but do it quietly, because that's the point of the fucking field upgrade. Like, this is the only hill I'm willing to die on this game, because they did do a lot of good, but I still think it's so stupid that they made it a bit more defensive. That's fine. A lot of people did want that. They didn't want people just running around like idiots like I do. But they should have at least made the perk or field upgrade, as it is now, that is meant to let you move around quietly and quickly, allow you to move around quietly and quickly and get people who are camping in their rooms that have doors on them, I think. Because that is the one thing that really frustrates me, is when I'm going on like a feed and I'm killing people and then I run up to office because I know somebody's going to be in there, and then I just have to stop or risk it, because even though I have dead silence active, I can't go through the fucking door quietly. And I can't even peek it if I have my knife out because I can't ADS. So if I try to, I just fucking smack my knife against the door, knocking on it pretty much, letting them know I'm coming in. But other than that, I got really lucky there with that guy I just killed, because he could not land those quick scoping shots, and I was pretty happy with that. And this clip was good because it reminded me of like OG COD again, because I pulled off one of the old switcheroos that knifers usually like to do, where I like run around a corner, then lay down right by the wall, and the enemy runs right by it and doesn't see me, and I get him. And I always think that's one of the funniest things you can do in this game. And whenever you do it, it just always makes me feel like big-brained, even though I know it's a simple thing to do. But there's a couple more clips I'm gonna let play out. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any more suggestions, definitely let me know.